snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I'm going to be reviewing The Cadet of Tildor, which is by Alex Lidell. Alex Lidell is a female, and this was her debut novel, which came out last year. I picked this up because Melissa at Lisaniella, I'll link her channel down below, said that it was one of her favourite reads of last year, and I was really interested to try out a YA/children's fantasy because obviously I tend to read a lot more high fantasy. And let's get started with the review. So this story is set in a world that is fairly kind of common for a fantasy, nothing particularly different about it. It's set mostly in the capital city where the king lives, and it's also set mostly in the academy, which is based there. The academy is where cadets go to train up to be soldiers to work for the crown in the future. And our main character is called Renee de Winter. She is a cadet who is training at the academy, and she wants to prove to everyone that she is just as good as all the guys and that she can be just as helpful as all of the other men who are training with her can be, because everyone kind of doubts her because she's so small and she hasn't got much body strength. In this world there are two main bands of criminals. One is called the Vipers. The Vipers are absolutely deadly. They are horrible people and they are ruled over by the Madam. The Madam is a very evil character. She just is concerned with fighting against the crown, and she wants to basically take over the whole of the kingdom, and she is very evil. She does kidnapping, she does all sorts of horrible things. She arranges assassinations and she arranges attacks on the crown. All sorts of very, very dark things for a children's novel, so I did like her character. I thought she was interesting and different to what I'd seen before in children's novels. Then we have the family. The family are also criminals, and they are basically very obsessed with money. They want anything and everything to earn them money, and they sell all sorts of things such as VC leaves, which are basically these illegal drugs that help mages control their powers. And in this world, if you are a mage, you are supposed to register to work for the crown and be assigned a job because mages are so powerful. But of course there are always renegade people who want to suppress their power and be free and live the life that they want to, and VC leaves are exactly how they can do that. So they make a lot of money through VC leaves and the selling of it because it's so illegal and it's very expensive to procure. One thing that I really did like about this novel was that it was focused on a female protagonist. As you probably know, most fantasies are not focused on a female protagonist. A lot of them are focused on males, and females take a backseat in the proceedings of the story, but in this one the females were just as strong as the males and they were just as interesting. I felt like this story could have been better had there been a lot more depth to it. I feel like probably because I read so much high fantasy, that's what I was comparing it to, and it really shouldn't have been, but it was. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more from this story. Even though I knew it was a children's YA book, I did want more from it. I wanted it to be more deep, I wanted it to be more political intrigue, although there is a fair bit of political intrigue for a children's story, but just to the standard of high fantasy. It's kind of a much more condensed version of a high fantasy book. It's not a high fantasy in any way, in my opinion. I did really enjoy some of the characters, although some of them I just couldn't get any enjoyment from or attachment to. They just weren't developed enough. But the ones that I did enjoy were Diane, who was a young boy playing in the streets, and he is a fairly pivotal character in this story, but he's just so funny and cute to read about because he's very young, very playful, and he just wants to enjoy life. We have Corey and Seaborn and Savoy, all of whom are very brave characters. They face a lot of trials in this story, and they're just very entertaining and funny as well along the way. So I like them, I liked Renee, and I liked Diane. But the rest of the characters really didn't make much of an impression on me. I'm afraid that they just didn't build themselves enough into my head, and I couldn't imagine them well enough because they weren't described in such detail. I wish they had been a little bit more developed. I wish the whole story had been a little bit more developed, but the storyline was there and the storyline was interesting, so that was a good thing. I would say that don't go into this story thinking it's going to be high fantasy and really detailed, because it's definitely not. But if you want to pick up a light fantasy read, then this is definitely a good one. Or if you are a child or a young reader and you want to try out fantasy for the first time, this would probably be a great gateway book into fantasy, so definitely something to consider if you have children and you want to get them into fantasy. This would probably be a good one for that. On the whole, I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped to, so I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 star rating. I think it's a good book. I did think that it could have been better, but that's mainly because I read high fantasy, as I've said. Definitely please do let me know what you thought of it. Am I being a bit too critical? I don't know. So I would love to hear what you thought of it if you have read this down below, and I will chat to you guys about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little chat about the